Many business owners haven't taken a real vacation for years. And when they do, they usually take work with them. They're dealing with client queries, answering emails, giving feedback and instructions to their team, paying bills, right? And it can feel like you just never get a break as a business owner. There is always something that needs your attention, that needs to be done. And it can feel impossible to break away for even a couple of days without being plugged into the business. So we go to the beach with our phones and we have the laptop close by in case we need to sneak away. And this really isn't a vacation, right? It's just work with a different view or a nice environment. And this can be very frustrating for you, for your family, for anyone that is on vacation with you. So, taking vacations where you aren't constantly checking in, where you can really switch your brain off from work and be totally present is hard. And it is also possible. Now, I'm about to go on a 2-week vacation, and I wanted to run you through how I prepare my business for a vacation and how you can do it too, so that you can get the right structures in place and set your business up with each vacation you take, so that eventually these vacations can be real, unplugged, disconnected vacations that give you a physical and mental break from your business. Now, my business is a very lean business, right? I don't have a big team. I actually have one person who I like to call my wizard of operations because she's amazing at making sure that things run smoothly. And she has also been trained in almost every area of my business. So she isn't specialized in a specific thing. She can actually do lots of things really well in my business. Basically, she can do what I do on the business side of things, right? Then I outsource my accounting to a professional accountant. And I also have a backup coach that can stand in for me if I'm not available to do my weekly group coaching calls. So that's basically my team, right? Now, if you have a larger team, there might be a few more moving pieces to the puzzle, since you need to make sure that everyone is on the same page and that communication is happening effectively. And of course, if you don't have a team at all and you're running as a solo entrepreneur, you may have other challenges that you need to consider and solve for in order to be able to take a break. Now, regardless of what your business looks like, it is possible to set your business up so that it can run independently of you. And in my opinion, this is something that every business owner should do, right? Because even if you do love what you do and you don't mind working and taking work with you on vacations, or doing some work while you're on vacation, if you're always doing all of the work, the business cannot actually function if you're not there, right? Which means that the business only works if you work. And this basically makes you the bottleneck to the growth of your business. And sometimes it isn't a conscious choice to take a break, right? Sometimes life happens. Sometimes there is an illness or a tragedy that strikes and we can't work. And if you're in the position where the business doesn't work, if you don't work and there isn't income coming in, this can be really devastating, right? So let's dig into how I prepared for my vacation that I'm taking. And at the time of this recording, I'm just about to leave. We're literally leaving today. By the time you listen to it, I will be back in action. Now, first things first, I plan my vacations ahead of time, usually at least 6 months out. Now, unless it's a longer vacation, so for a vacation that say is 1 or 2 weeks, 6 months is perfectly fine, depending on where you're at in your business, right? Now, I'm just going to assume that you haven't had a vacation in ages and your business doesn't have anything set up. So 6 months should be good for a 1 week vacation. But if you're going on vacation for 3 weeks or 4 weeks and anything beyond that, I would suggest planning 12 to 18 months in advance. Now, what I do first is I set the dates for the vacation in my calendar and I let my team know. I book the accommodation, the flights, anything that really cements the vacation in, right? Like it's happening. I'm not going to change the dates around. Now, this is important because it gives us a deadline for the structures we need to get in place so that the business can stand on its own 2 feet by the time that we go. The vacation date becomes the deadline for a business that can run without you. Then I create a vacation board. I actually visualize being away from my business. So really think about everything that will happen while you're away, right? I actually have a Trello board with everything that needs to be done before I leave, as well as a list of things that will need to happen while I'm away. This board is obviously shared with my entire team, and it creates a space where they can document any decisions that they needed to make or challenges that came up while I was on vacation, so that once I'm back, we can start working through those things and get the structures in and the systems in place so that those same challenges don't come up again in the future. Now, we use the board in a what we call a debrief meeting, right? The day that I'm back, so that I can get back up to speed and have very clear actions that we need to take and focus on so that we can prepare for the next vacation. Then what I do is I batch and automate whatever I can, right? So we create an action plan for everything that needs to be done or needs to be in place before I leave. And that is why it's important to plan in advance so that you have enough time to get those things done while serving your clients. So, for the actions that will need to happen while I'm away, I ask myself, what can I batch or what can I do in advance, right? Especially if it is something only I can do and that I can't transfer to someone else. And then I obviously also look at what I can transfer, right? And this is interesting because so many of my clients think that they look at the things that they put on their list and they're like, but I have to do this. But when we actually look at it, it's very obvious that it is things that they can transfer. It's just really getting into that mindset and letting go of the control a little bit. So, what I can't transfer or send off to someone else or just not do while I'm away, I'm going to try and solve for by looking at batching it or automating it, right? So, we'll speak more about this in a minute. But for me, some of the things that I batch and schedule are my podcast, right? And any payments, invoices that need to go out. So for my podcast, as an example, I batch the episodes, right, for the entire trip and also a week or two after I'm back, so that when I do return, I'm not thrown under a lot of stuff that need to happen that week or urgently. So I actually like to keep the week that I'm back after my vacation relatively open so that I can check in with my clients, get up to speed with what happened while I was away, and create any action plans for the things that was on the vacation board, the list of things that I need to now take care of, right? So the other thing that I also do is I decide what I will and won't do while I'm on vacation. And I want to really invite you that there is no right or wrong here, right? It really depends on where your business is at and what you have in place. If this is your first vacation that you're stepping away from your business, things are going to go wrong, right? There are things that you might have to take with you on vacation, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you're doing vacations wrong, right? It's really all about being intentional. And also communicating that to your family and your friends who may be with you on the vacation, right? So I share with my family if I do decide to take work with me on this particular vacation. My family knows how much time I'm going to spend working, right? So let's say it's an hour a day. Then they know that I'll be busy for an hour a day. They can go to the beach or do something else, right? Keep themselves busy. And then I'll catch up with them after I'm done. The caveat here is that stick to the time that you have decided that you're going to work, right? So if you give yourself an hour a day to check in on emails or do whatever it is that you decided to do while you're away, make sure that you stick within that time frame. So if you tell your family that you're going to be busy for an hour, keep it to an hour and then really do your best to be present with them the rest of the time. And also to give yourself a break in terms of like thinking about work, right? So even if you do have that hour, the rest of the day, you really have to work at not thinking about work, right? Because this will make it so much more enjoyable for you and also for the people who are with you on that vacation. The most important thing here is to make sure that everyone is on the same page, right? That your team knows exactly what their roles and responsibilities are going to be, and also that your family knows if you're going to take work with you, this is how much time you're going to spend on it, and also for you, right? So that you put a boundary around that so that you can actually enjoy your vacation. We also decide ahead of time how we are going to deal with things that come up, right? And how they will contact me if there really is an emergency and I need to step in. Now, it's important to define an emergency beforehand so that everyone knows what a real emergency is and so that your team isn't bothering you for the tiniest of things. Now, the days before I go on vacation can typically feel very overwhelming, right? Even if you did plan and prepare for this vacation, you may still feel a bit anxious about leaving. And this is where you need to trust that the work that you did, the planning that you did, all the things that you put in place is enough, and that your team will come to the party if you have a team, right? And this is probably the hardest thing. Things are completely prepped for my vacation, and I still have this nagging feeling that I'm forgetting something. So just remember that it takes time to switch off, right? To go from go, go, go all the time to relax. And it's okay if it takes you a couple of days to slow down and really get into vacation mode, right? This is why I recommend to take the week before you go on holiday to start the winding down process, right? So don't commit to things that will add pressure in the week before you go. I like to reduce my work hours that week as much as possible and to start mentally preparing myself for rest and relaxation. Here's what I do the week before I go away. I reduce my screen time. I will actually start reading fiction books instead of non-fiction books or business books the week before, instead of binging something on Netflix or learning something business related on YouTube or whatever, right? I also try to get as much sleep as possible. I actually try to go to bed earlier. Now, I don't always succeed at this, but I do try to at least get into bed a little bit earlier and try and fall asleep a little bit earlier. I also meditate in the morning and the evening, and I set the intention to slow down and get into vacation mode. So that entire week, apart from the fact that I am still serving my clients and still doing things inside of my business, I'm really also focusing on, you know what, it's almost time for us to really just switch off. It's time for us to get into vacation mode. Now, something else that also helps me as well is that when things do go wrong on vacation, I'm not telling myself that something went wrong, like this is a bad thing. We actually want things to pop up as we take these shorter breaks because it shows us where we need to make changes. And you get to decide how you deal with emergencies and what exactly an emergency is, like we said, while you're away. But it's important to know that every time you step away and something pops up, that's an opportunity for you, right? To solve for that thing so that it doesn't happen in the future again. And every time you solve something small like that, maybe it's a big thing, maybe it's a small thing, right? But every time you do solve for it, then you're actively putting the structures and the systems and the processes, the things in place that your business needs so that next time that same thing doesn't come up again. So I hope this has been helpful and that you are really eager and excited to go ahead and plan your vacation. I always say to my clients that you might need a vacation from your business, but your business actually needs a vacation from you way more. And if you do plan these vacations and take the vacations with the intention of setting your business up so that it can run without you, your business and you will be better for it. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Go ahead to my website and look at the upcoming workshops. There's actually a vacation mode series coming up in August. So if you want me to help you through this process, to prepare your vacation, to know what to do while you're on vacation, and also to know what you do when you get back, that vacation debrief that I spoke about in this episode, head over to ilonkaras.com/workshops and sign up for that workshop series. It will help you a ton in getting your business vacation ready. I'll see you again next week.